Fewer people will be serving time in Ohio prisons if Governor John Kasich gets his way.
And the governor's call for sentencing reform, less time for certain crimes, is getting bipartisan support. Governor Kasich made an impassioned call for change during his State of the State speech. Jeff Hirsch joins us with what happens next. Jeff?
Well, it's not easy for a Republican to call for sentencing reform. The GOP has long portrayed itself as tough on crime. But with 47% of state prison inmates sentenced to 1 year or less, the governor says it's time to find a better and cheaper way to deal with doing crime and doing time.
We don't want to wreck somebody forever when it makes no sense.
One of the few things both Democrats and Republicans cheered was Governor John Kasich's call for criminal sentencing reform.
We got to keep the public safe. But think about if we can keep them somewhere where we save money, reduce the recidivism rate, and they can be rehabbed and go out and get a job.
If you go to the penitentiary, you have a black eye. So it's hard to find a job. And if you do find a job, it's hard to find a job that can take care of your family.
Terry Jones has served time for robbery and drugs. Now turning things around, Jones says the governor's plans are good as long as they're comprehensive.
If you send somebody to the penitentiary and they do come home and you don't help them and they think the government is not worth them helping, then what's the sense of even going through the motions of?
Ohio's prison population has skyrocketed, up nearly 6,000 inmates in just 8 years, a huge jump. The prison system is at 131% capacity. So sentencing reform is not just about giving people a second chance. Is it driven as much by money as it is by social policy?
I'd say equally by both.
The Ohio corrections system costs $1.7 billion to run. Let more people out into alternative programs and you save money.
This is not putting the high-risk people back into our community, but just those people with the lowest level offenses.
Last year, half the incoming male inmates and 2/3 of incoming female inmates had the lowest level felonies. The reform group, the Ohio Justice and Policy Center, says the governor's sentencing reform, combined with post-release training programs, could help everyone.
Being tough on crime means what do we do to end crime, not how do we just bash criminals over the head forevermore.
It's critical to have the governor involved.
And I do believe it's going to change. But the more and more people you get involved in the fight as far as criminal reform, it will happen.
But the devil is in the details. The Dayton Daily News says the governor wants to sell 5 state prisons and privatize 3 others. That gets into union issues, layoff questions. It all goes in the hopper. Back to you.
More controversy. Thanks, Jeff. We'll learn more about Governor Kasich's specific plans on sentencing reform when he releases his budget. That's next Tuesday.